The top court in the UK has ruled that a controversial government scheme that would send asylum seekers to Rwanda is unlawful. Now, that comes as a big blow for the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and his immigration policy, and for what's been a major election pledge before a vote that's expected next year.
We accept the Home Secretary's submission that the Rwandan government entered into the agreement in good faith. Nevertheless, asking ourselves whether there were substantial grounds for believing that a real risk of refoulement existed at the relevant time, we have concluded that there were. The changes needed to eliminate the risk of refoulement may be delivered in the future, but they have not been shown to be in place now. The Home Secretary's appeal is therefore dismissed.
For the very latest now, let's bring in our London correspondent, Benedict Pavia. Benedict, what more can you tell us?
Well, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the United Kingdom. It has really given a significant defeat and a real blow for one of the top priorities, the migration policy of Rishi Sunak's government. So it has, the Supreme Court has said that this Rwanda policy is illegal. It was a unanimous decision by all five judges. It was actually brought forward. We thought it would take until just before Christmas, but given the circumstances, given the context, the Supreme Court said that it obviously had wanted to expedite this. So the British government wanted this policy to be a deterrent in order to stop a lot of those small boats, very dangerously in unsafe conditions in the busiest shipping lane, one of the busiest in the world, to where some people have indeed perished, coming across from French shores illegally onto British soil. But the Supreme Court said there was, quote, a real risk that asylum seekers who would be deported from the UK would be sent back from Rwanda, either to their original countries where they could be tortured, persecuted, killed, or to conflict zones. And they quoted particularly clandestine removals by the Rwandan government to Uganda. That is not to say that in the future, if things were changed, they couldn't improve. But the UK government cannot appeal this judgment. So the question is, what will they do? And will they look at different countries? That is one of the things that's being talked about. But of course, this all comes before a general election. What would they have time to do to set up a deal and to try and implement it?
Benedict, now this decision comes just after the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, wrote an incendiary public letter after Sunak fired her. In that letter, she accused the Prime Minister of not living up to his promise to do, quote, whatever it takes to actually failing to override human rights concerns about the Rwanda plan. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, this policy, this migration policy and stopping the small boats was Rishi Sunak's flagship policy, one of his top five priorities, but it was also a policy that was very, very, very much pushed and believed in by the woman who was fired 2 days ago as Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, the very same ex-Home Secretary who last night published an absolutely scathing attack, less like a resignation letter than an absolutely full frontal attack on her former boss, Rishi Sunak. And she attacked Mr. Sunak, particularly over the Rwandan plan, accusing him, quote, of magical thinking. She even said in her letter that because of Mr. Sunak, even if the plan were deemed to be lawful, and just to remember, the Supreme Court has judged it's unlawful, the government would struggle to deliver the policy. So we await to see what her reaction will be. We've just got a reaction from Rishi Sunak's office. And they say, we have seen today's judgment and will now consider next steps. This was not the outcome we wanted, but we have spent the last few months planning for all eventualities, and we remain completely committed to stopping the boats. They'll say they'll do whatever it takes to implement that policy. So let's see what they consider to be whatever it takes and when that comes.